Hello, I'm back. A lot has happened since we last spoke. It has been 3 months since I told you the truth, the confessions of a cursed village. I told myself it was over, that leaving would set me free. I was wrong. That night I was at work. It was late, and we were about to close when the door creaked open. A woman stepped in. I knew her. She was from the village. My stomach dropped. She walked straight to me. "You left us," she whispered. Her voice was cold, filled with something dark. "Me and my child. You left us." I shook my head. "No, I told you to come with me. You said no." Her eyes burned into mine. "Go back to the village." My breath hitched. "What? Your family is still alive." A chill ran through my veins. "No," I said. "My family is gone. And your husband, he's gone too. We know that." She stepped closer. "No." Her lips barely moved. "Your family is alive." I didn't believe her. Couldn't. But before I could say anything else, she was gone. 3 hours later, I was heading home. The streets were empty, the air thick and suffocating. And then, my phone rang. I checked the screen. Unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. A whisper. "Come back to the village." I froze. I looked around. No one was there. Then, a text message. From her. "Go back to the village before it's too late." Attached was a video. I pressed play. The screen flickered. And then, I saw myself, lying on the ground, surrounded by satanic symbols. A shadow loomed over me. A shape, something inhuman, standing in the darkness. The video ended. My hands shook. My heart pounded. I had to go back. If I wanted a normal life, I had to stop this. The next day, I called my boss. "I need a leave of absence." "Are you okay?" she asked. "I will be." She didn't ask more questions. "Take as much time as you need." I packed my bags. I stood at my door, staring at my suitcase. What the hell am I doing? Something inside me screamed at me not to go. "This is a mistake. Your family is not alive." But I did it anyway. I left my apartment. I waited for the bus. And as I sat down, I felt it. Something was watching me. I was not alone. And for the first time in my life, I knew I wasn't coming back. I sat on the bus, staring out the window. The sky was dark, covered in thick, heavy clouds. The road stretched endlessly ahead, disappearing into the mist. My thoughts were a mess. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to stop this. A deep exhaustion settled into my bones. My body felt heavy. My eyelids drooped, and before I knew it, I fell asleep. And then, the nightmare came. In my dream, I woke up, but I wasn't on the bus anymore. I was standing in the middle of a dense, lifeless forest. The trees were twisted, their branches like skeletal fingers reaching for me. The air smelled rotten, damp with decay. A voice whispered in my ear, so close, I could feel its breath. "Welcome back." I turned, but no one was there. Then, a sudden jolt. My eyes shot open. The bus had stopped. I blinked in confusion as the driver looked at me through the rearview mirror. "Is this your destination?" he asked. I hesitated. My throat was dry. "Yes." He frowned. "Are you sure?" Something in his voice unsettled me. But I nodded. "Yes." The door hissed open. The cold air hit me like ice. I stepped out. The moment my feet touched the ground, I felt it. Something was wrong. The bus doors shut behind me. Before I could turn around, it drove off, disappearing into the darkness. I was alone. The village was still 3 hours away by foot. I took a deep breath and started walking. The forest around me was silent. Too silent. No birds. No insects. No wind. Only the sound of my own footsteps on the damp earth. And then, the whispers started. Faint at first, calling my name. "Welcome back." I walked faster. The whispers followed. "You shouldn't have come. She lied to you. They are waiting." My breath hitched. My skin crawled. But I kept walking. For 3 hours I walked, until finally, I reached the village. It looked different, darker. The houses were in ruins, their wooden walls warped and broken. The streets were covered in dead leaves and ash. The air was thick with the smell of burnt wood and decay. It was like the village itself was rotting. Then I saw it. My family's house. There was a light on inside. I froze. That wasn't possible. They were gone. They had been gone for years. But the light was there, flickering. I forced myself forward. My legs felt numb as I reached the door. My heart pounded as I knocked. For a moment, nothing. Then, the door creaked open. And there she was. My mum. She smiled. "Welcome back, honey. We missed you." My whole body went cold. She pulled me inside and hugged me. Her skin was ice cold. Her grip too tight. But I didn't resist. I sat at the dinner table. My father sat across from me, smiling. My grandmother stood by the stove, stirring something in a pot. My grandfather was reading an old book, his fingers tracing over words I couldn't understand. They looked normal. They gave me food. I took a bite, and then everything went black. I woke up gasping. I was in my old room. I had a splitting headache. My hands were trembling as I sat up. Something was wrong. The air was freezing. I looked around. The house was empty. No furniture, no family, no light. Everything was covered in dust. The walls were cracked, the ceiling caving in. I knew this house had been abandoned, but I had been inside. I had talked to them. I heard footsteps outside. I ran to the window. A woman stood in the street, staring at me. I recognized her. I ran outside, my breath sharp in the cold air. She didn't move. I reached her, my voice shaking. "What is going on?" She didn't answer at first. Then her lips parted. "Everyone is dead." A shiver ran down my spine. "No," I whispered. "I saw them. I was with them." Her eyes darkened. "That was not them. It was the devil." A lump formed in my throat. "No, I saw them. I touched them. It was a trick. This is black magic. The village is cursed." The air felt heavier. She sighed, shaking her head. "Why are you back?" "Someone called me," I said. "They told me my family was alive." She scoffed. "They lied to you." She turned and walked toward her house. "Come inside." I followed, my body still trembling. Inside, the air was thick with the smell of damp wood and something rotting. She sat me down. "You should have never come back." I swallowed. "Why are you still here?" She stared into the fire burning weakly in the hearth. "I'm waiting for my husband." My stomach twisted. "He's not coming back." She flinched, but she didn't answer. I took a deep breath. "I'm going into the forest. I have to stop this." She turned to me sharply. "Are you insane? You cannot stop this. This is satanic magic. It will never end. You will die." I clenched my fists. "I have to try." She stared at me for a long moment. Then, she shook her head. "Good luck." Her voice was empty, and I knew she didn't think I would make it out alive. I stepped into the forest, my breath shallow, my hands trembling. I told myself, I have to stop this. I had to end the curse. The trees loomed above me, twisted and gnarled. Their bark blackened like it had been burned from the inside. The wind whispered through the dead branches, carrying voices. My name. "Come back. You shouldn't have come." My skin crawled, but I kept walking. And then, I saw her, a woman standing in the middle of the path, waiting for me. She was dressed in black, her long veil flowing, her face hidden in shadows. Her eyes, though, I could feel them staring straight into me. She smiled. "I've been waiting for you." My body froze. A terrible cold wrapped around my chest, tightening like an invisible grip. "You will stay here forever." Her voice was like a whisper from the grave, hollow, empty, yet filled with something ancient and evil. I clenched my fists. "You have to stop this." "I will stop you. You killed my family." She took a slow step forward. "Your family?" she whispered. "Are you sure they are gone?" I staggered back. Her face twisted into something unnatural, something beyond human. She raised her hand and touched my forehead. Everything went black. I woke up on the ground. My head throbbed, a sharp, stabbing pain drilling into my skull. My body was cold, my breath coming out in short gasps. I blinked. The air was thick with smoke. I tried to move, but my arms were trapped. I looked down. I was lying on a massive satanic star, drawn in thick, black ash. I wasn't alone. Figures stood around me, hidden in the darkness. Watching, I heard them whispering, chanting. A hand grabbed my shoulder. I turned, but no one was there. I pushed myself up, my head spinning, my stomach twisting in nausea. I tried to run, but my feet felt heavy, like I was wading through water. Something was holding me back. And then, I heard her voice. "You will never leave." A shadow moved toward me. I forced my legs to move. I ran. I ran as fast as I could. The whispers followed, crawling along my skin like rotting fingers. The ground beneath me shifted. I didn't know where I was going. And then, I saw the house. I stumbled forward, gasping for air. I knocked on the door, my hands shaking so badly I could barely make a sound. The door swung open. She was standing there, the woman from before. Her expression was a mix of fear and relief. "Come in," she whispered, grabbing my arm and pulling me inside. She slammed the door shut behind me. "Are you crazy? What did you do?" she hissed. I collapsed into a chair, my whole body trembling. "She did something to me," I gasped. "She used black magic on me." The woman paled. "Then you are cursed now, too." I swallowed the lump in my throat. "God knows what she did," I whispered. She handed me a cup of hot tea, her hands unsteady. "Drink this. You need to rest." I took a sip, the warmth burning my throat. I didn't realize how exhausted I was until my body started shutting down. The last thing I heard was her voice, soft, distant. "Sleep now. Tomorrow you will see the truth." I woke up to the sound of knocking. The air was thick and stale, the room darker than before. Something felt wrong. I got up, rubbing my temples. My head was still pounding. She was sitting by the fire, staring at the flames. "You're awake." I nodded, swallowing hard. "Come with me." She didn't look up. "No." I frowned. "You have to leave. This village is cursed." She turned, her eyes reflecting the flames. "I will stay." "Why?" I whispered. She exhaled, long and slow. "I am waiting for my husband." A deep chill ran through me. "He's not coming back," I said softly. Her hands clenched into fists. "You don't know that." I did know. He was gone, just like everyone else. But she wouldn't listen. I took a deep breath. "I'm leaving today." She didn't move. "Then go." I hesitated. "Come with me." She shook her head. "I belong here now." A deep, horrible dread filled my chest. There was nothing I could do. I stood up, stepping toward the door. Before I left, she whispered, "Be careful. She will not let you go so easily." And in that moment, I knew she was right. I ran. I ran as fast as I could. The ground beneath my feet felt like it was shifting, like it was trying to pull me back. Behind me, I heard them, the whispers. They crawled through the trees, slithering between the branches, filling the air like smoke. "You think you can leave? There is no escape. You are ours now." I pushed myself forward, my breath coming out in ragged gasps. The trees around me twisted and stretched, their dark limbs reaching out, trying to trap me inside. The wind howled, but it wasn't the wind. It was her, the woman in black. Her voice slithered through the darkness, wrapping around my mind like a sickness. "You try to escape, but you never will." Her laughter followed me, low, hollow, unnatural. A sound that didn't belong in this world. A sound that sent ice through my veins. "You are cursed, like your family, like your neighbors, like this entire village." I didn't look back. Couldn't. If I looked back, I knew I wouldn't make it out alive. I ran for 3 hours. I ran until my legs burned, until my lungs felt like they were collapsing, until the ground blurred beneath my feet. And then, I crossed the threshold. A wave of cold air slammed into me. The whispers stopped. The air turned still. I stumbled forward, gasping, my hands digging into the damp earth. I was out. I turned around. The village was gone. Only the forest remained, dark, silent, watching. I felt it, something staring at me, hiding between the trees, waiting. But I didn't go back. Couldn't. Instead, I walked. I kept walking until the sky turned red with the first light of morning. I reached the main road. I stood there, my body trembling, my mind numb with fear. I was alive, but I wasn't free. I knew that now. This curse would follow me. Wherever I went, whatever I did, it would always be there. I sat down at the edge of the road, staring at the empty stretch of pavement. I was waiting for the bus, thinking about my family, thinking about what they used to tell me. You have to be strong. In life, bad things will happen, but good will come too. But I don't know what to believe anymore. Maybe I will never go back to that village. Maybe this was my biggest mistake. But something inside me whispers, just maybe, I will come back. Because some things don't end. Some curses never fade. And as I sat there, staring into the empty road, I felt someone watching me. And I knew this was far from over.